Oh, we are back. We are back.
Yes.
Jam-packed show today. This thing is jam-packed.
Yes.
Thanksgiving Eve. I don't know if that's a thing, but
It is.
it is now.
Well,
I
some
mean,
people call it Blackout Wednesday.
Blackout Wednesday, of course. Yeah, Thanksgiving is becoming more of like a week, kind of like Christmas and New Year's. It's like becoming a big thing.
Hmm.
You have Blackout Wednesday, Thanksgiving, Black Friday. You know, the whole
People are
weekend is
looking
kind of a big
for a
deal.
reason to justify getting drunk during the week. And you know what? I
It's
can't.
America. Why
It's
not?
America, baby.
I mean, that's what we do best around here. Before we dive in, I mean, we have a lot to talk about. We have NFL, college football, massive college football week, rivalry week. Some of the biggest games that happen every year happen this weekend. Of course, on the screen there, we have the Michigan Ohio State game. That is the game. Kind of, can Ryan Day win it again? He hasn't won it in a very long time. So we'll dive into that. That'll be the last thing we'll talk about on the show. But we start, I don't have a graphic for it, but we do start with we have our first major free agent signing in MLB. So the Toronto Blue Jays have signed right-hander Dylan Cease to a 7-year, $210 million deal,
Mm.
pending a physical. Dylan Cease is 29 years old. He last pitched with the Padres, was in the Cubs system, then traded to the White Sox, and then was traded to the Padres. So he's kind of viewed as a good young arm, especially if they're going to pay $30 million a year for him. So,
You know what? And you're the baseball guy, so I'm gonna hit you with a question. Do you think this is what they needed when it came down to the World Series? Do you think this fills a big hole for them, or do you think it's just a good guy to go and grab?
I mean, it helps. I mean, the problem with the way that, they went to Game 7 in extra innings. So I mean, they're right there.
Yeah,
It's not like they were like a player or two away. They were a moment or two away.
yeah,
So maybe if you get a guy that you believe can come in and be like a Yamamoto and maybe pitch for you, a couple times in a single series or whatnot. But it's one of the first big dominoes. I know a lot of people had their eyes on him as a pitcher, of kind of getting him. So to have it and then a massive deal like that, I mean, baseball is known for the big deals.
hmm
I mean, $30 million a year, 7 like long-term deals. This offseason in particular is going to be interesting because we have a potential lockout after next year.
right.
So are you going to see some guys maybe sign short-term deals, like one-year deals? And then are you going to see some guys like Dylan Cease saying, look, $30 million a year, 7 years, I'm going to do that all day. Like, no question about it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Not a guy that I don't think is a household name, but he's a very good pitcher. Could be one of the best in baseball and, going to the Blue Jays. And clearly they have a development to, of pitching that they can, work with it. He kind of fits in the rotation. You don't know what happens with Max Scherzer, that kind of thing. So to get him there. All right, creepy photos back.
Yes.
John says no one cares about baseball. Well, when a guy gets paid $210 million, I think you talk about it.
Mm.
It's a pretty big domino, especially for a team that was in the World Series. They're keeping to add on. What do we got here? Caleb looking like Pablo Escobar. Yeah, I get that all the time. I mean, I've taken pictures in bars with people because they thought I was somebody famous. So, I mean, it is what it is. All right, big weekend in the NFL. Thanksgiving games are always the biggest game. There's one game in here that people expect to be the most watched NFL regular season game in the history. And that's the game in the middle. So we'll talk about that. But first, Packers and Lions are talking about could be as well. Packers at the Lions. Lions are 3.5-point favorite, 1 p.m. on Fox. Both these teams are, of course, behind the Chicago Bears.
That's right.
Who would have thought? The Packers and the Lions played, I want to say, a couple years ago on Thanksgiving, and that was supposed to be a coming out moment for the Lions. Packers kind of spoiled it. Both teams are slowly trying to figure themselves out down the stretch of the season. This could take a big step. Of course, I put Jahmyr Gibbs on there for the Lions because he's the workhorse right now.
Mm.
I mean, the guy's coming off of massive, I think over 200-some yards. He had a 63-yard touchdown last game. So, I don't know. This game's going to be interesting. I mean, what I like about in the NFC North is it's getting down to the nitty-gritty, and everybody basically has to play each other. The top 3 teams all have to play each other at the end of the year. So it makes it fun. The Bears and Packers play twice. The Lions and Bears play again. Everybody's playing each other, and this is just one step on the domino where there could maybe only be one playoff spot for the person in second place.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of coming at a perfect time in the season too, where this game really matters for the Lions and the Packers. I'm not sure what either. I think they both have 3 losses, right? Packers might
Yeah.
have more.
Packers have
Oh,
the ties, so that helps
okay.
them.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens. This is the game I'm the most excited for because I think the winner of this it determines a lot of their future. So yeah, this is an exciting game. Cowboys Chiefs. That is going to be a fun game, maybe to watch. Either like bad fun to watch, or like an actually good competitive game. Because we have seen like with the Cowboys, obviously they beat the Eagles this past week, but also like they had a really competitive game with the Packers that ended in a tie.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs, you can never really count them out. They haven't looked great recently, but I mean, this is where they're going to try to really turn it on because we're at about, a little over halfway. So if they're going to stack some wins, they got to kind of do it now.
Yeah, I mean, and so this is the game. The Chiefs at Cowboys is where they expect to be probably the most watched game in NFL regular season history.
Wow.
They are expecting within the Packers, Lions, and Chiefs Cowboys game that roughly 90 million total viewers are going to watch both the games combined, which is crazy when you think about it. So yeah, I mean, you put the Chiefs and the Cowboys. This obviously has more precedent and more prestige and more watch factor now that the Cowboys came back and beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, the Cowboys may have a shot. Here we go. They're 5-5-1. The Chiefs are 6-5, coming off the win against the Colts where they needed it. You're trying to, think, people hate the Chiefs because they've been successful and they're the Chiefs. People hate the Cowboys just because they're the Cowboys. So this is one of those games where either way, America has an opinion on it. Either way, it's going to make America sad no matter what happens. But, the Chiefs need it more than anything. If they lose this game, you go 6-6 with their remaining schedule in their division. You make it very tough for yourself to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Cowboys win this game, and you're thinking maybe if it could get really, really wacky in front of them, they have a tough schedule down the stretch, but they do play the Lions. So, it's one of those things that could be a hurdle for them is the Lions where they could, maybe knock them out. So it's going to be one of those things. But, this game, who would have thought we'd sit here now and say this game has much importance for both teams based off of the playoffs. And then we get to the last game on Thursday night. This game is just gross. The Bengals at 3-8 at the Ravens, 6-5. Ravens 7-point favorite. You don't get Chris Collinsworth, you get Jason Garrett. Gross. Joe coming back to play for some reason. I don't understand it. And the Ravens find themselves now top of the AFC North, and they're trying to figure it out. But I don't know. This game, to me, I think it's going to be weird, and we're not expecting much out of it, and this could be the best game out of all of them.
Yeah, and with Joe Burrow coming back too, this adds a whole nother level to this game. Because when I first saw the schedule for Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago, I mean, obviously I was like, I think Lions Packers might be the best game. At the time, I thought Chiefs Cowboys was going to probably be like a blowout for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And then this game, I was like, this is terrible. Like, why do we even? But with Joe Burrow coming back, that adds a different little layer to it that makes me much more excited for this game.
Yeah. So I mean, look. It's Thanksgiving. You watch football. It's just what you do.
Yep.
So no matter what's going to happen, it's just what you do. I feel bad for the families that don't watch games during. That's your own fault. They're not allowed to watch TV. I was listening to Dan Patrick, and a guy was like, "Hey, what do? I go into my in-laws, and they don't like to watch TV during Thanksgiving."
Make sure your phone's charged up.
Well, Dan Patrick told him, then you host or tell him you're turn up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically how it is.
Yeah, that's terrible. I would never go to a Thanksgiving. I would find a way to watch the game. There's nothing better than waiting for all the food to get done, and you're like, wow, I have nothing to do. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
If your Thanksgiving starts before 1 o'clock, also kind of an issue.
Well, mine starts around 1 o'clock. I think.
Yeah, that's when mine starts. Yep. So
it's around that time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start getting ready. At 12:30, I'm gonna be watching the pregame stuff, getting ready, and then food probably be done. It's my Mimi, so. Yeah. It's supposed to be 1 o'clock, probably more like 1:30, 1:45. But I won't complain because I'll have football.
No, why not? I mean, this is what you do. But I don't understand the people that have Thanksgiving at like 7 o'clock at night, though.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. Well, actually, that's so funny that you say that because my girlfriend's family is like 5 or 6 o'clock.
That's I get that's like the time you eat dinner. It's not the time
Mhm.
you eat Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving
No.
is like an early afternoon thing.
Yeah, it works out really nicely for me because 1 o'clock go to my Mimi's and then
And then
5,
you go
6 o'clock I go straight
double
there,
dip.
miss nothing, dude. And they make some good food, so I'm excited.
But yeah, I mean, it's
It's gonna
7
be a
a.m.
great day of eating and watching football.
It will be a great day. It's a great weekend for football. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what it is. We have Thursday and then we have Friday, of course,
Yeah.
Black Friday. They snag a game in here.
Mhm.
This game, of course, is the one that we care about the most.
Yep.
Bears 8-3 at Eagles 8-3. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
When the season started, I was thinking, oh, yeah, Ben Johnson, we can maybe figure some things out here. We
Yeah.
lose the first 2 games, and I'm like, well, here we go, same old Bears. We're not the same old Bears. We're top of
Mm-mm.
the division in November. Now we play the Eagles. This game now means something. When they made this game, I guarantee they did not expect it to be
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, absolutely.
They thought we'll put the Eagles out there against the Bears. We'll make them look great. They'll dominate them. And whoa, Amazon Prime's games at 3 p.m. I have problems with that. 3 p.m.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I don't like it. It's weird. I don't know why they did 3. I just do 3:30 like the college games to kind of fit
Yeah.
into that schedule. But
Yep.
nonetheless, I'll be watching. Eagles are 7-point favorites, so that's pretty interesting coming into this game.
Yeah, this game this is a really because this is a tale of two kind of different teams. The Bears have done really good all season around like the fourth quarter, where their defense steps up, their offense steps up, and they're a really good team. The Eagles have not been good in the fourth quarter, and if they are good in the fourth quarter, they were terrible the first and second quarter. So, in order for the Eagles, I mean, this is a game that I can easily see the Bears winning. In order for the Eagles to win this game, they have to be competitive all 4 quarters because the Bears just ramp up the whole time, and that's how they have gone for almost 2 months. Just consistency the entire time. So, I'm a little nervous for this one. Like I said, I'm kind of a Bears fan by proxy. So, I mean, if anyone's going to beat us, might as well make all my friends happy. But, yeah, the Eagles have to get a lot of stuff going. I was much happier with their pass game against the Cowboys, but again, they kind of stalled out. And they plateaued towards the end of the game. Saquon still has not gotten going. So,
Well,
we're all the way.
I think he'll get going this week because we have so many injuries. I
Yeah.
think the Steelers ran for like 180 yards on us. All 3 of our starting linebackers are out, injured. So yeah, I mean, look, the Bears are for what we have. They're scrapping it together. They're figuring out, which is nice. We're winning the games we're supposed to, I think, which is great. Now we take another step up to see if we can beat the Eagles, who are a good team as well. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm not expecting much out of the Bears, to be honest. I just don't. Not with the injuries we have. I mean, we have like 5 or 6 starters out on defense. Our top 2 corners haven't played like all year.
Yeah.
So the way we've been able to do some things is surprising. I think they're going to come out. They're going to play Ben Johnson. I think is going to have some things figured out. I just don't know about our offense against the defense. I'd feel much better as a Bears fan if the Eagles would have won last week.
Yeah.
But I think losing that way, last week, being up 21, losing, shorter week. It's pretty much all they've thought about. I expect the Eagles to come out and not to blow out the Bears, but to like, hey, we're still pretty good. They're going to get Saquon involved. I don't know. The Bears defensively is what scares me.
Well, and I will tell you this: if the Eagles lose this game, there's going to be some real talks about getting rid of some people. Whether that's probably Kevin Spatullo, maybe not fire him, but he probably won't be able to call the offense anymore.
Yeah.
And then I think talks about getting rid of Sirianni are going to also amplify because I mean this has just been terrible for the defending champions. I've seen it on my feed all week. Is just how rudimentary and elementary our offense is. So if that doesn't get picked up and we lose this game, there's going to be some real talks about offensive coordinator and who's calling the offense, and I think that'll even kind of leak into Sirianni's job. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of similar to the Doug Peterson thing.
Yep.
Where it's like Howie Roseman gives you a team that you expect to be very successful. Yes, they lost Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator, but Nick Sirianni used to call plays. He used to be an offense. So you expect him to kind of, and with that team, you would expect him to be able to figure it out. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. I mean, the Bears they've surprised me all year, and so they're probably not going to surprise me much. Creepy Photo says, "Mama Bear says no excuses for the Bears make it happen." So we'll see how it goes. But not expecting too much from the Bears. I'm just happy to be where we're at, and I'm happy to go. Win or lose, I'm happy that when I go to Lambeau next weekend, that game matters.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and also too, like no matter what happens, someone either the Lions or the Packers are going to take a ding too. So
yeah, no, that's the thing is the Packers are 7-3-1 and the Lions are 7-4.
Yep.
So I mean, the Bears realistically they really need to win to keep giving themselves advantage because the Lions have the tiebreaker as of right now. And the Packers have the tie, so that helps them out. So realistically, the Bears need to win, but it's one of those things where I don't know. As a Bears fan, and I know Jerry would say it as well, we're just happy with where we're at. Like we're playing with house money, keep it going. From what we used to be to what we are now, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, now we have some. So we've had a lot of firings so far in college football. Now we have some hirings starting to happen. The first one being Jim Mora. Jerry sent this, I think, late last night, like 1:32 in the morning. I don't know what he was still doing up, the crazy guy. Which, of course, he's an hour behind. So, Central Time guy. So Jim Mora is going to Colorado State from UConn. He was 27-23 at UConn. He's won 9 games the last 2 seasons at UConn, which UConn's been terrible at football for a very long time. He used to be the head coach of the Falcons back in the day, mid-2000s. Was UCLA's head coach when Josh Rosen and stuff was there. He's 73-53 overall as a head coach in college. Now he goes to Colorado State. I don't fully understand it. I feel like it's a lateral move. But, hey, money's money. I know he just posted, updated his Twitter and everything with a new picture of Colorado State, whatever. I mean, I think Jim Moore is a good coach. I thought he was a good coach at UCLA when he got fired. Just didn't really work out. Now he's kind of reinvented. He's like the poor man's Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Slowly reinventing himself. Took a UConn program that's been terrible to 9 wins in back-to-back years is pretty good. UConn is also an independent, if I believe, so there's really no conference tie. So I don't know if that played a role into it or whatnot, but now going to Colorado State, probably more money involved. Kind of goes back out to the West Coast area. I mean, it'll be a fun little hire to see how it works. And then Eric Morris is going to Oklahoma State from North Texas. He's 40 years old. He's 21-15 at North Texas. They're 10-1 this year, so he's done very well. He knows the area, of course, Texas area. Big on it, and now he's going to Oklahoma State. Brings young energy, which that's exactly what they need after having Mike Gundy for all them years.
Yeah, and that's what my biggest takeaway too, or something I'm like looking forward to is like how does the culture in Oklahoma State kind of transform because he was there forever.
Yeah.
Played there, coached there, so this is like a kind of a new chapter for Oklahoma State, and I think it'd be fun to have them, be competitive again with this young guy in the building. So. I'm excited. He was very good at North Texas this year, so very excited. And again, UConn is notoriously terrible. So to get out of there with just a few losses a season for the last 2 seasons, that's pretty spectacular. I agree with you. This isn't kind of like a knock me dead kind of job offer. Colorado State, they play Colorado. That's about the only time I ever see them play. So I'm interested to see what he does there. Maybe he can spark something with them too.
Yeah, I think maybe he's trying to show like a pattern of like, hey, I can rebuild a program. So like, give me the chance again at a power school.
Yeah.
And of course it's power school. That was UCLA, so it wasn't like it was the biggest power school.
Right.
But I think it's one of those where it's like, hey, like I was able to build UConn. I was able to go to Colorado State. We've seen Jim McElwain was at Colorado State and then went to Florida. So I mean, I don't know if he's kind of seeing that as a leap too. Luke Coxey, I will not say that. I know you're trying to set me up for failure there. All right, we go on, and we now have some news about the LSU thing. So this just came in. Pete Thamel just tweeted this like 10, 15 minutes ago. Sources, this is from Pete Thamel. Brian Kelly has been informed in writing that he's been terminated by LSU without cause. This means LSU is set to owe him the nearly $54 million remaining on his contract. So we were going to talk about the whole LSU thing to begin with, based off of Brian Kelly's attorneys coming out by saying
they made it impossible for anywhere else.
LSU's hurting his chances at getting another job because he hasn't been fully terminated. So basically what they were doing was fighting over the $54 million buyout. Well, that's no longer a problem. He's getting paid now. So Luke Coxey. Yeah, I still feel like you're trying to set me up. If the Makers, I would assume the Maker follows his coach. From North Texas to Oklahoma State. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't really follow North Texas football a whole lot. So I'm assuming the Maker goes there with his coach.
Has Opus alum there.
Yeah, of course. That's the only reason I know anything about him.
Yep. And I had just a real good Road to Glory player there, like probably over 10 years ago.
Hey, look at him here. How do we not know who the Maker is? I mean, just don't know, man. Just don't know. All right, so Brian Kelly fully terminated, gets his $54 million. This has been a big argument. It's been a big debate. Basically, they didn't want to pay him, but what was the cause? There were some rumors about they were going to try some unethical, it sounded like, potential things to try and get him cause for firing. So basically, it's been worked out. Now he's getting paid $54 million. Look, if I'm Brian Kelly, I don't coach. Or I expect him maybe to look in the NFL, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of where he's at. I know back when Notre Dame went to the national title game in 2012, they were talking he may go to the Eagles. Chip Kelly instead took that job instead of Brian Kelly. So that'd been interesting kind of how that works. I know NFL teams have looked at him in the past. I know a big thing has been talked about. One reason he got let go by LSU was his recruiting or non-recruiting. Dan Patrick talked about this, how he kind of refused to recruit like all in, and instead he'd go golf in Florida.
Can you blame him?
So he kind of looked at it like, I don't really want to put all that I have into it to see what it does.
Well, and that would kind of match up with like an NFL team too, right?
Yeah.
Where the coach doesn't really have as many obligations to his team, where he's like, I'll draft a guy more so than go meeting him at his house and having dinner with him.
Yeah, and he's been a CEO coach since, like, I want to say after his, like, 4th or 5th year at Notre Dame. He's kind of just been a CEO coach where doesn't really worry about plays for the offense. Always has a very good defensive coordinator, or did at Notre Dame, didn't at LSU. So he's a CEO coach where he kind of just relies on other guys to kind of handle things. He oversees the operation. So that's what I'm thinking. NFL. I think he's kind of probably done with college. And maybe he looks at it and says, maybe I can go to an NFL team and maybe figure some things out.
Yeah, and I honestly, I kind of see him like sitting out a year maybe, or sitting out a season. He's got $54 million, so it's not like he's in a rush to go make more money. But I kind of see the frustration with LSU with him, like lack of, him being involved in recruiting, because you have to, look at Coach O and the things that he did to land guys. Maybe that's just kind of an expectation at LSU, something that they never really, thought about in the hiring process. But I can see the frustration, but I think the next step for him is, maybe, like you said, NFL. Maybe not necessarily a head coach or anything, but it could be a coordinator, kind of like the Chip Kelly route. And then, or like a coordinator at maybe a bigger school or something. But
well, the other thing too is and I just looked up the Maker, as Luke keeps commenting in the comments. The Maker there, he's a freshman quarterback, so I assume that he will definitely follow his coach. The other thing too is, it's like, do you want to be a James Franklin where you go get a new job and you lose out on your buyout because you got a new job? James Franklin's buyout went from 40 to 50 million to 9 million because you went and got a new job. I thought there was two schools that fit for Brian Kelly in Wisconsin and Florida State. Neither of those jobs are coming open, but I just felt like he kind of fit at those two schools. Wisconsin, of course, being very similar to Notre Dame in the North, you kind of it would be the same blueprint he had at Notre Dame. Offensive line, running backs, tight ends. You build it that way, have sound defenses. And at Florida State, you kind of can come in and be an old school coach, and I feel like that would maybe work a little bit. But I don't know. It just seems like he has started to not like the trend in college football, and it didn't work out at LSU. And so I don't know. I just feel like NFL is kind of more speed, but I wouldn't be shocked if he took a year off either. Just be like, do I even want to do this? Maybe get into TV, that type of thing. All right. So the other guy in the photo there, Lane Kiffin. A lot of talk about the old Lane Kiffin. Who knows what's going on there with Lane? So Ross Dellinger, this guy, I mean, I feel like he is like sleeping with Lane Kiffin at this point. Because every day Ross has something different. Ross has done a good job. Yahoo Sports. He's been all over the Lane Kiffin thing ever since the fire. He's been all over the LSU thing ever since the firing of Brian Kelly. I remember listening him on Sirius XM like a month ago when Brian Kelly got fired, and they were he was on a show talking about like the inner workings of LSU and kind of all of it and how it's kind of all worked out, and the why LSU was in the setting that they were in. So now Ross is now reporting that if Lane Kiffin were to leave, he is not expected to coach Ole Miss in the playoff if he leaves. And basically Ross has also said that Ole Miss administrators have set a deadline for Saturday. So the ultimatum realistically is there.
Yeah.
Is what Ross is saying. And that corresponds with the AD's statement being like, Saturday we'll know Lane's fate. Basically, I think they're looking at it and they're basically saying, look, we need to know if you're leaving or not. If you are leaving, we need to slowly figure out how to do this. The committee talked about how they may not ding Ole Miss in the rankings if he were to leave because they've not seen him not be their coach.
Right.
So that's interesting. So that was one thing that came out. And then Ross also reported that Florida is starting to pursue other candidates not named Lane Kiffin, and Ole Miss has begun to reach out to potential replacements for Kiffin. So as of right now, it kind of looks like it all leads towards LSU.
Yeah.
But something could change. The Egg Bowl happens this Friday, so it's just a lot of working. It just as of right now, it's looking like Lane is going to be the next coach at LSU.
Well, it really kind of blows my mind. Obviously, they got to have a coach. So it's either, pardon my French, but shit or get off the pot kind of thing. Where it's like, if he doesn't go there, he's missed his opportunity.
Yeah.
And the fact that he kind of has to make a decision before the Egg Bowl, before the playoffs, and the idea that they can get dinged for him not being the coach, that's really disheartening. And I know that probably makes a lot of the players at Ole Miss very upset, which I don't blame them at all. That you worked so hard and then you could potentially miss the playoff just because you never even, you never made that big mistake.
Yeah.
You just lost your coach to a job that's once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So if I was a playoff voter, I'm keeping Ole Miss in the playoff. There's no way you can take away from those kids.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, would the team be significantly different if Lane's not the coach? Yes, no doubt about it. But they've still played on the field. They've still done everything that they can. If they were to beat Mississippi State this weekend, they're a one-loss team in the SEC. I mean, that's pretty darn good. The bigger question is just what does Lane want to do? I think that's the biggest thing. Is he happy enough at Ole Miss to say, I think we can continue to do this. I've overachieved a little bit in the history of Ole Miss. I think when he got there, if you would have told him he was in this spot, he probably would have said, I probably would have left by now. I think he did figure some things out personally about Ole Miss that were good. But now it's like, hey, you can be back on top of the mountain. This guy was on the top of the mountain. He was the head coach at USC when it meant something to be the head coach at USC.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was right after Pete Carroll. You're thinking, whoa, this is, and he was there at USC when they're rolling, back in the 2000s when it meant a lot. It was one of the top jobs in the country. You go there, he kind of struggles. They have some sanctions where you lose some scholarships. It's tougher to win there. He gets fired on a tarmac, thinks he's out of coaching. Nick Saban calls him. He's worked his way back up from assistant to head coach at FAU, head coach at Ole Miss. And now it's like you have a chance to be back on top at one of the premier jobs. I think his thought process is I'm not Brian Kelly. He likes to recruit. He likes to do all the different things. He's bought into doing it. So it comes down to that. I mean, what do you want? I do. So the reporters did grill him a little bit this week about the things. And I mean, they came after him. And So the one guy asked, it was actually a great question. He said, you said on Pat McAfee that this job, your decision doesn't come down to money. So what are you deciding on?
Yeah.
And that was a great question. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny. And Lane was like, they asked like three of me. All right, that's the third one you've asked. He goes, I'm not going to entertain any of these. So he goes, we can just move on, or you can just keep asking these questions.
And it's really kind of a hard decision, I think, because he kind of has brought Ole Miss up to the top of the SEC, where it's like this is a very difficult conference to win, and you have a very, very successful season in the SEC, and it's like, okay, you can leave here and go join a team that's already on the top, or you can help build one here at Ole Miss. I mean, and if he's here for 3 more years, they keep seeing the success, they're going to be in the conversation of one of the best teams in the country to go to, or to be a coach. Like that's going to be the top of the cream of the crop. So it's a huge decision. It's a very complicated one, and it's fair to grill Lane Kiffin because there's a lot of people's decisions, and all those things are on the line here. But like, you can't blame the guy for thinking about it because it's a very difficult decision to make.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if he, some people have said he's not made the decision yet fully. I think he's still trying to process it, still trying to figure out what he really wants. It's just, to me, the longer that I don't see that he has signed an extension with Ole Miss, the more likely he's gone.
Yeah.
And knowing Lane, he could have us all thinking he's going to LSU and he ends up going to Florida.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I thought he'd go to Florida to begin with, but look, it looks like LSU's kind of the one. He must, feel like some things are better. And the thing with him going to LSU is, I'm assuming that if he does leave, he's got guys in the roster that he knows are going to go with him from Ole Miss.
And the thing with Florida is, like, it's almost now at the point almost a lateral move to me, because Florida is Florida.
Yeah.
But they haven't been very successful, and that feels like right now a program that you have to build a little bit. Which
that's the thing.
Crazy difficult because Florida is like the place to go when you're a kid in Florida. So,
well, I think that's the thing is, in the new day and age is, a lot of the guys aren't staying locally like they used to before, right? It comes down to a lot of the money things. But I think in the since 2000 you've seen more failures at Florida than success. LSU, you have one failure, which Brian Kelly was a failure, yes, but he still had won some games. To where, and then before that, Nick Saban wins the national title. Les Miles wins the national title. Ed Orgeron wins the national title. So you have success there. Florida, it's like you have Urban and Steve Spurrier from the 90s. And ever since Urban left, it's been a disaster. Every single one of those guys have been fired. So, I think he probably looks at it that way of like, look, LSU, better pattern for success and national titles. I don't know if that's what gets Lane going. But I think he would like to bring some success back into his life. I mean, he was an assistant on the USC staff 20 years ago. So I think every guy who's a head coach is motivated by wanting to win a national title. It just comes down to, does he think he can do it at Ole Miss, or would he be better off doing it at LSU?
As a recruit though, it's like think of like, would I want to play for a guy who abandons his team in the college football before they make the college football playoff, or do I want to play for a guy who turned down the biggest job in the country and said, no, I want to sit here and build something? That's actually a harder question to answer nowadays for recruits because of money and things like that. But I would really, really, I think the good ending to this story is that he stays at Ole Miss. But that's not the most exciting or whatever. So.
No, but Lane could also spin it in a way too of like, hey, I was gonna coach Ole Miss in the playoff. They told me I had to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, I was all for it. I was gonna do both jobs. You know what I mean? So he could also spin it that way. It's a little bit of both of like, you do put coaches in some bad situations with like, I think the first signing day is early next week, and then you got the transfer opening up during the play. So the schedule kind of dampers some things, but that's what you have to get yourself into. You have to figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. In a perfect world, he would have, liked to have Ole Miss at like 10-2, probably just missing on the playoffs, and he could go. So obviously season to go. But, we don't know if that's going to work out. They still have to play Mississippi State. But it's just a lot to go into a game like that when that's your big rival. It's wacky to begin with. It's on a Friday. Everything about it's crazy. You're the talk of the town. Nobody knows who you're coaching at this point. And so it'll just be interesting to see kind of what happens. But we'll have the answer Sunday or Saturday. We'll have it Saturday. All right, moving on to the playoff rankings. We had the week 4 of it. The top 5 stayed the same. Oregon jumped Ole Miss after their win over USC. Ole Miss didn't play, so that kind of happened. Miami moves up to 12. And I think at the end of the day, if Miami beats Pitt this week, I think they're going to end up jumping Notre Dame.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I think Notre Dame will not make the playoff. I think they're setting the scene for that.
Oh my gosh.
That's just what I believe deep down inside is I think Miami's going to get in over Notre Dame. I think they're going to come back around to the head-to-head thing. And unless Miami looks awful against Pittsburgh this week, where Notre Dame went in there 2 weeks ago at Pitt and pretty much dominated them, unless it's like comes down to a last-second field goal, I just think it just feels to that point they're creeping Miami up to then have them jump Notre Dame. And I get the head-to-head thing. To me, I look at it and I say, yes, head-to-head matters, but not when it's the first game of the year in August, and one team looks way better right now than the other team. But I just think that's going to happen. Michigan moved up to 15. I feel like this is because they're playing Ohio State. So does that make Ohio State look better? I have to have a feeling that they do that they may move some teams up. Like they bring Pitt, back in, and which Pitt should be back in the rankings. They beat Georgia Tech, but you bring Arizona in because they're playing Arizona State. I feel like they do some of that stuff. So Michigan jumps up to 15, but I will say they are also that goes into their head-to-head thing because USC has one more loss than Michigan, but they did beat Michigan, so that goes into their. They don't really maybe care too much about head-to-head. SMU and Pitt are back in, and Tulane is at 24, still the highest non-Power 5, and they'd be in the playoff.
Well, and I think that the way that I think that this should go is that it's the way your team looks at the end of the season. Now, head-to-head is important, but is it the number one deciding factor? I don't think so. I think it's an art, not a science. There's an art to making the playoff bracket. There isn't a formula that you can just plug in. You have to do an eye test. You have to look at both the teams and you go, which one deserves to be in the playoffs and which one doesn't. I mean, this is very interesting. Pitt looked very good against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And they have a lot riding on this win here. If they win, are they in the ACC championship?
I think it'd be close. Okay. I know SMU and Virginia right now. I think they need some help. Okay. Miami needs some help too. So I think whoever wins the Pitt-Miami game is third place and then needs some help.
Okay.
So I mean, very easily could happen. So the ACC has a chance to really explode this weekend.
Yeah. Which seems like we say that every week.
Yeah. Well, it's just I don't know. To me, I look at it as, and I take being a Notre Dame fan out of it. I mean, they had a team 35-0 at the end of the first quarter last week. And Syracuse is terrible, but they did exactly what they're supposed to do. Miami played Syracuse a couple weeks ago, and they won by like 17 points.
Well, yeah, and that's like, what do you want Notre Dame to do? Beat them by 70 points? Like, they beat them by 63. What do you want them to do? Like, what more could they improve? So I think that even if Miami wins, I think it's almost a no-brainer. I mean, and like you said, it depends on how good they look. If they go out there and they beat Pitt by more than Notre Dame did, then it's a real conversation, or equal to. Then it's a very hard conversation to have. But if they go out there and sneak out a victory, I don't think it's that hard of a conversation.
No, I mean, and look, Notre Dame has played Stanford this week, and I think that's a common opponent between both of them as well. It's going to be a little sneakier, I think, for Notre Dame this year based off Andrew Luck's back. Stanford has the GM, and he hates Notre Dame. So he's going to bring, that rivalry. And he had great success against Notre Dame back in the day. So, I think it's not going to be an easy – I don't think it's going to be Syracuse was last week for Notre Dame. But, they need to go out and, they need to put on some style points and do some things too. I don't know. I just have a feeling that we're setting up for Miami to jump Notre Dame at the end of the year and be like, oh, head-to-head, matters, even though it did matter. You look at Alabama at 10. If they lose the SEC championship game, which they're in right now, they have to beat Auburn this weekend. Are they going to take them out of the playoff? So there's not a whole lot of spots for some people. So I think that's where.
Yeah, well, and I think Alabama's a loss away from kind of looking like Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, if they lose to Auburn, I'd put them in the same boat.
Yeah, well, they would be out. They'd be out because
Yeah.
they wouldn't be in the SEC championship game. And you can't sit there and say, oh, you need to put them in, blah blah. So it gets real. It gets real clunky. It gets real nasty. Depending on, I don't know. That's my gut feeling with Notre Dame Miami thing is I just feel like it's setting up for Miami to jump Notre Dame at the end of the day, which would suck because if you were going to do that to begin with, just have Miami ranked to Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but we'll see how it plays out. We have 2 weeks to see that. All right, moving on to our games this week. I did get Jerry's picks just before the show, so we have those. We start with the Egg Bowl. Number 7 Ole Miss is 7.5-point favorite at Mississippi State. It's going to be Friday at noon on ABC. Jerry went with Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think this is going to be probably a statement win for Ole Miss. And this is going to make the conversation for Lane Kiffin so much harder, because they'd be sitting there with one loss, looking very good in the SEC. And so this is just for the drama, and I do think Ole Miss is going to win, but I cannot wait for this conversation to be had around Lane Kiffin if they beat Mississippi State. So yeah, give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be wacky. I feel like it's going to be one of those games Ole Miss has to come back and win.
Yeah.
But I expect Ole Miss to win it. I think, probably a slow start with a lot that's going into it, but I think, they have enough talent to get past Mississippi State. All right, here's an interesting one because for both teams, this doesn't matter for conference-wise, but for Georgia, if you have a slip-up against Georgia Tech, what does it do for you with some of the playoff ranking stuff? Number 4, Georgia, minus 13.5-point favorite versus number 23, Georgia Tech. This game is historically goes back and forth in between Georgia and Georgia Tech home games. This year, for some reason, they're playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, which Georgia Tech is based in Atlanta, but I don't know. You're taking your home field advantage away from this. I feel like Georgia fans are used to playing in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so that'll be interesting. This game's Friday, 3:30 on ABC. Jerry went with Georgia.
Yeah, the Georgia Tech has allowed 34 points in the last 3 games. So I think for them to win it, they would have Haynes King would probably have to have the best game of his career. I don't see that happening. I think Georgia's going to score basically at will. So give me Georgia.
Yeah, this is the game that I think went into like 7 overtimes or something last year. Pretty crazy. It was kind of like the Haynes King coming out party. Everybody kind of figured out who he was. I'm going to go with Georgia as well. I think they're cooking on all cylinders right now. They kind of figured themselves out. Stockton's playing well. The defense is doing well. It's fairly simple to stop Georgia Tech, stop Haynes King, you stop their team. So I think Georgia's just going to have the upper hand on this one here, and they're going to want to close out. And then they wait and see kind of some craziness happens in front of them. They go back to Atlanta the next week for the SEC championship game. All right, the Battle of Arizona. Number 25, Arizona, minus 1.5-point favorite at number 20, Arizona State. This game's also Friday, 9 p.m. on Fox. Jerry went with the Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah, this is going to be just like a game that basically decides who does well this week in our picks and who doesn't. But I guess, I don't have a whole lot to say. This is a very close game. I think both of these teams are very similar. I'll go with Arizona State just to be different than Jerry.
Yeah, this game is one of those weird games you would, I think it's kind of weird because Arizona just gets into the ranking this week. Arizona State moves up to 20, and Arizona ends up being the 1.5-point favorite. I'm just going to go with Arizona. I trust them a little bit more. I think that I trust Arizona State at this part of the season. I don't know. They've had a very good sneaky season for losing their best receiver to the NFL, coming in, new coach in his second year, kind of figuring some things out. So I like Arizona to win this one. All right, now we go up to the Pacific Northwest. Number 6 Oregon -6.5 favorite at Washington. This is 3:30 p.m. Saturday on CBS. Jerry went with the Ducks.
Yeah, I think this game is a little bit more interesting than some people give it credit for. Washington's offense is a pretty high powered offense. I think Washington's quarterback will have to really stress Oregon's defense, but we saw last week with USC that Oregon can kind of handle those high powered offenses. So I'm also going to go with Oregon.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for this game is will Oregon have a letdown coming off of that win against USC? Now you have to go to the road to Washington. Jed Fish is trying to get a statement win as the Washington coach. There's no better way to do this than against a rival of Oregon in a top 10 team. I don't know. I just trust Oregon and Dan Lanning. I think they're kind of maybe starting to hit their stride as well. Dante Moore at quarterback. And I just don't know if I fully trust Jed Fish yet in big games. The Ohio State game, they struggled. The Michigan game, they struggled. So I just don't know if they're quite there yet. All right, this is the last one before we move on to our 3 highlighted games. Number 14 Vanderbilt at number 19 Tennessee. Tennessee's 3.5-point favorite. It's 3:30 p.m. on ESPN on Saturday. Jerry went with the Volunteers.
Dude, so this game too is very, very interesting because one, if Vanderbilt wins, they have a potential at making the playoff. And two, if Vanderbilt wins, Diego Pavia is probably a shoo-in for a Heisman finalist. Might not win it, but definitely going to be up there. So, you know me, I like the story. So give me Vanderbilt. I like to see all that stuff happen and make the conversation even harder for who makes the playoffs.
I think I'd go with Vanderbilt if it was at home. I just think going to Tennessee, which you're going to Tennessee, I don't even know how it's got Nashville to Knoxville is probably like 2 hours. Tennessee's not a very big state, but I don't know. I just think Tennessee at home, I think it helps them a little bit. Vanderbilt's had this nice season. I expect some teams to lose that we don't expect to lose. You know, the 2 lost teams to maybe shake some things out. So I'm going to go with Tennessee to beat Vanderbilt. All right, this game we've talked about it with the playoff rankings. This game means a lot for the playoff and for the ACC when you think about it. They need some chaos in front of them to happen, but it could very well happen. Number 12 Miami at number 22 Pitt. It's noon on ABC. Miami's a 6.5-point favorite. Over under set at 49.5. Pitt is plus 215 money line. Jerry went with Pitt.
Yeah, I think I'm also going to go with Pitt. They looked very good last week. Towards the beginning of the game, scoring at will against Georgia Tech. I can see this, Pitt just staying hot, doing exactly what their coach said they needed to do. Like he said, I don't care if we lose Notre Dame by 100. We have to win these last 2 games of the season. So Pitt looks very good. And I can see this, kind of stalling out the conversation for Miami in the playoff. And then we look back at all of the stuff. This is going to if Miami loses this game, this was an absolutely insane season for Miami. Collapse is insane. But yeah, give me Pitt. I think this is going to be one of those rivalry games where the underdog takes it and makes the conversation more towards them than Miami.
Yeah, I'd love for that to happen. As an Notre Dame fan, it'd be fantastic. I'm going to go with Miami, though. I don't know. I think that they're going to figure out a way to win the game. The only thing I will say is it feels like there's not just pressure just to win the game, but maybe have some style points.
Yeah.
So I think that can maybe hurt them. But I don't know. They've kind of, since they lost to SMU, they've kind of figured it out a little bit, got back on track. I just don't know if I fully trust Pitt against a team like this. Miami-wise, Georgia Tech was a little different. You kind of expect them to be on the same playing field. Miami's a little bit ahead of them, so I don't know if Pitt will be able to do it fully. So I'm going to go with Miami, but I wouldn't be shocked if Pitt wins. They're playing for the potential to get in the ACC championship game, do these things. So I'm going to go with Miami. All right, this is the Battle of Texas. Now, number 3, Texas A&M at number 16, Texas. This game is Friday, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. A&M's a 2.5-point favorite. Over-under set at 53.5. Texas is plus 110 money line. And I will say here, A&M has not beat Texas since 2010.
Wow.
And that was in Austin. Now, granted, last year was the first year they had played since like 2011.
Right.
But it's been a long time. But the last time they did it was at Texas. Texas beat them last year at A&M. Jerry went with A&M.
Yeah, this is this is a hard one because if Texas wins this game, the playoff committee is going to implode because
Oh yeah, there's a small chance.
this is gonna. I mean, I would love to. If I could pick a team to win, like for sure they win, I'd pick Texas because that would blow up everything that we've talked about so far with Texas. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm not fully bought in on Texas A&M being this absolute world beater, but I think they are good enough to take out Texas. But I think they're going to have a rough time in the playoff. I don't necessarily see them with some of the team. I mean, and even in the SEC championship, Alabama could give them if Alabama beats Auburn, could give them a run for their money. So give me Texas A&M. If I could pick a winner, I'd pick Texas, but I'm going to have to go with my gut here and go Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'm going to go with A&M as well, just based off of I don't know if I trust Steve Sarkisian in these games.
Yeah.
Granted, it's at home. I don't know. I like A&M. I just do. I mean, they came back against Notre Dame when they were down 6. They had the kick return that was called back. Then they went down the field to win the game. They had the game against South Carolina where they're down. They have to come back and win that game. They've been battle tested. I like that about teams that are highly ranked and teams that, we look at are good. When they've been punched in the mouth, how do they respond? They've responded well this year. I like Mike Elko as a coach. I think they're going to do enough. I think they want to beat Texas. I think they want to prove like, hey, we are the team in Texas. And so, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to probably be chaotic. I just don't know if I fully trust Arch and Sark in a game like that.
Yep.
All right, now we move on to the game, and so we had a comment here based off of what we said was the title of the video is, could Ryan Day be fired if he loses again? A little funny, right? Like we don't sit here and we're not totally serious about that. But I don't think it's totally stupid because if he loses again and they don't win the national title, there's going to be Ohio State fans that are calling for his job. We had a lady down in Alabama that if she would have won the lottery at the beginning of the year would have fired Kalen DeBoer. And they could go to the playoff.
Yeah.
These college football fans are crazy. So this is, of course, the game. Number 1 Michigan at number 15, or number 1 Ohio State at number 15 Michigan. I've been used to Michigan being highly ranked coming into these games as of late.
Yeah.
This is game day is going to be there, of course. Big noon kickoff's going to be there. Noon on Fox. Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite. Over/under set at 43.5. Michigan is plus 300 money line. Michigan's won the last 4. Ohio State has not beaten Michigan since 2019, which is crazy to think. Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith may not play for Ohio State, the wide receivers. Nobody has more pressure on him this week than Ryan Day.
Yeah.
He thought he got off it when he won the national title last year. All that pressure builds back up. You're 11-0. Some people are saying this team that you have at Ohio State better than last year's team. You're scoring a bunch of points. Your quarterback's completed 80% of his passes. And now you get into this game where he coaches differently and he does clam up in this game.
Yeah. Who did Jerry pick?
Jerry picked Ohio State.
Dude, this is going to be a cold, nasty November game.
Yeah, it looks like it's some snow nasty.
No, it's just going to be disgusting. Usually I would like to, in this time, I mean, if this was last year or 2 years ago, I would obviously rely on Michigan's physicality, where they're kind of able to control the trenches and get stuff done. I think Ohio State is good enough to do it this year. Now, missing Jeremiah Smith and Tate would totally, because then you kind of have to be physical, right?
Yeah.
And I can see them doing that, but that's going to be a huge blow, and that's going to make a lot of Michigan fans happy. Obviously, no one wants them to be seriously injured, but them not being a part of that game will make a lot of Michigan fans very excited, and there's a potential for a pretty big upset. I think this game is going to be close. I think 10 points is a big number, or 9.5 is a big number. But I'm going to go Ohio State. I say they maybe win by 3-6 points. They're going to get it done, but this game is going to be much closer than 10 points, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so this game, it's funny because I mean, like, I of course grew up in a house with a Michigan fan, my dad, and this is
Not
all they
everyone's
care.
perfect.
No, but this is all they care about when it comes to
Yeah.
this game. It's beating Ohio State. For Ohio State fans, it's beating Michigan. They could go 1-11 as long as that one win was against Ohio State or against Michigan. That's all they care about. The gloves are off. Ryan Day, Sharon Moore. You have this new quarterback in Bryce Underwood stepping in there. Michigan is quietly 9-2. If they were to win this game and have maybe Oregon lose also, they would get into the Big Ten title game, which is crazy to think, but it can happen. I don't know. I've picked this game wrong for like the last 4 or 5 years when I've looked at it. I don't know. I just think for Ryan Day, winning that title helped him a lot last year, but didn't beat Michigan. I just don't think Michigan has enough offensively against the Ohio State defense. I think Matt Patricia is maybe going to dial some stuff up, as they say in the business. He's going to dial a couple things up. And I don't know. I think Ohio State's going to win. I think it's close. I do agree with you. I think it's one of those games where it's like either Michigan has the ball late and Ohio State gets a turnover or something like that. And I will say, if Justin Haynes was still healthy for Michigan, I think it's a different game because typically, like the last 20 years, the team who runs the most yards wins the game. But Ohio State has this running back named Bo Jackson. I think he ran for 100 yards last week, so it's going to be one of those things. Creepy photo. It's not showing the comments. Comments are not showing up. What?
Yeah, you're lagging a little bit.
Am I?
Yeah. But I can still hear you and stuff. So the comments are creepy photo says Jason approves of Trevor's chuckles, which that'd be his stepdad. They're probably watching it together. Approves of your laughter. And then Jonathan, who's going to the game, says he's a Michigan fan. He says they're going to get blown out. So Michigan's going to get blown out?
That's what he thinks.
I also think too that Ohio State has a tendency of kind of putting it in oh no. I'm panicking. I'm all alone.
I don't know what the hell happened.
Dude, I was keeping the people entertained while you were gone.
I don't know why. My Wi-Fi's been bugging all day. So
yeah, it looks better now.
I don't know if it's the weather or whatnot. There we go. I can see.
Trevor is in control.
I mean, it's like once every 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is that Ohio State has a little bit of a tendency to go kind of an autopilot.
Yeah.
Where it's when you see Indiana, when they're up on a team, they are going to, put some style points on there. Ohio State doesn't normally do that. They get up comfortably and they kind of just roll to the end, which it's not a bad strategy. If you have it's kind of there to limit your stars getting hurt, right? This is Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. So, but I would say they should probably put some style points on Michigan if given the opportunity, because you don't want this game to be, hanging around. And I don't think they will, because Ryan Day really probably wants to beat Michigan pretty bad.
Yeah, he does. It's just interesting that he does coach differently in this game. So that, I think, will be the biggest thing moving forward. So we all went with Ohio State. We all went Texas A&M. You and Jerry went Pitt. I went Miami. Me and Jerry went Tennessee. You went Vandy. We all went Oregon. Me and Jerry went Arizona. You went Arizona State. We all went Georgia, and we all went Ole Miss. It's gonna be a good week.
It's a good week. Yeah, it's a good weekend.
NFL games, college games, technical difficulties are back. Of course, that means that we're back.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's just
And next time we have a show, I'll be 26.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. We're closer to 30 now than we are 20, which is terrifying.
It is very terrifying. I just got a text from Mama Bear being and I'm frozen on the screen. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm frozen. This happens. Technical difficulties happen. I mean, without a
That's
doubt.
right.
This
Hey,
is
if you want to watch high quality, no technical difficulties, you'll watch somebody else.
go watch a network show.
Yeah.
But
But when you were gone, I was showing them my
yeah,
little thumb trick.
if they want people that can do things through chaos,
We
they watch us.
persevere.
Yeah, that's what
We
we do.
persevere.
I mean, it's never perfect over here. It's the whole point of it. That's what
We
that's a value for life for
That's
everybody.
right.
It's not perfect. Don't act
We
like it's
are
perfect. It's not.
a manifestation of the indomitable human spirit.
Yeah. We just put it on a shirt. Of course. This guy Jonathan has 40 shirts with my face on it. I am starting to think that he is like obsessed.
Yeah, dude. And the problem is that he's not mass producing them.
Yeah,
Because he sent me a picture of one, and I was like, "How do I get this shirt?" And he was like, "Order one and get it made." I'm like, "No,
we should start selling merch.
yes, we should." What I don't even, the V.O.C. podcast.
Yeah, we should start selling merch. I'm pretty sure every student you have would probably buy.
Oh yeah,
So maybe we can.
they already got their mom and dad's credit cards on their Fortnite accounts. So
so maybe they can just give us, another little $20-$30 for a T-shirt.
Oh, we should start doing that. We'll have to get a quota.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. We'll have to discuss that.
Give me a little quote.
Maybe that'll be something for the new year that we add to the podcast.
Yeah. I you know what? I'd love that.
Maybe a shirt that says if we don't lose Caleb every show, it's not a show.
Yeah, I agree. And it's such a beautiful thing. I'm so excited for tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Dude, this is gonna be
What's
football.
your like favorite like thing like food wise for Thanksgiving?
I'm a big stuffing guy, bro. I can't get enough
I
of
hate
it.
stuffing.
I can't get enough of it, bro.
I refuse.
I will get like my normal plate, and then like eat one or two normal plates, and then like I'm sitting there so full, and then I'm like, maybe I'll go up for some stuffing, and I'll get a whole plate of stuffing, dude. And because a lot of people share your opinion on stuffing, they think it's gross, soggy bread. I think it is one of the most delicious things I've ever eaten in my life.
I'm not a fan.
Love it. So what's yours?
There is something about the turkey that I like.
But the problem, you gotta get a person who knows what they're doing.
Well, yeah, you have to, but it's like I think we're so used to eating like turkey sandwich. It's like shaved turkey, but when you get like turkey that's fresh like that off of the bird, I mean it's very very good. So I would say that mac and cheese, of course, is always good, but
mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm a big mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I'm not a big gravy guy.
Oh, brother,
not a big.
I'll put mashed potatoes. I'll put mashed potatoes.
They're saying you're super excited.
I am excited. I'm manifesting what's gonna happen tomorrow. I put mashed potatoes. I'll put stuffing on the mashed potatoes, and then I'll put gravy on all those things combined.
I mean, what I like to do is I like to take a roll, put some turkey on the roll, some mashed potatoes, put it all together a little bit. But no, I mean, I don't, not a stuffing guy. I've never got behind it. Never will.
Beautiful thing that this is more of a Christmas thing, I will say, in the King household. Not so much a Thanksgiving thing, but I think last year they did do this. My girlfriend's house, her Thanksgiving. Mama King will do up a prime rib, brother. She'll cook that sucker for like 2 days. And
so it's jerky?
No, not literally 2 days. But she's working on the prime rib for marinating it, all the stuff, man. And it's more of a Christmas thing, I will admit. But if you haven't had prime rib at everyone can eat and just, oh my God, dude.
See, in my family, we like basically the same meal that we have for Thanksgiving is the same meal we have for Christmas.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. We just have kind of always done it that way, like because we'll have a ham and a turkey tomorrow.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. I think most people, and I will say my family probably does this. Yeah, they do this mostly. Is that ham is kind of a Christmas thing.
Yeah.
And then turkey is, but Gordy likes to get crazy, dude. And last year we had shrimp cocktail. We just had like 50 frozen shrimp, bro, and then just cocktail sauce. It's not a bad. It's good. It's a good time.
Yeah, I don't know. We've just have always basically done the same exact thing. I'm not one for change when it comes to the holidays.
That's
So
fair. Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
no, and people are like, "Oh, let's do this," and I'm like, "No, we're not. We're not changing it up. We're not doing anything." Creepy photo says, "Nah, Mama Bear turkey noodle soup the next day. The best." Wow.
Ooh, I might have to dabble in that. One time though, I did eat like one of the best parts too is getting the leftovers.
Yeah, the turkey
Never
sandwich.
if
The
you
turkey
go,
sandwich
yeah,
afterwards is the
yes.
best.
Don't if you go somewhere and they go, hey guys, take some leftovers with you. Do not ever turn that down.
No.
I will say one time, I freaking I was in there taste testing, brother, at about 2 in the morning. I got everything we brought home. And then for some reason, it might have been 2 days later. I was so violently ill.
Yeah, it's 'cause you ate too much.
Yeah. That but dude, I'm so excited. I can't it's gonna be the best day ever. Just football, food, family. It's gonna be cozy. It's gonna be snowy out, so you're gonna
Yeah.
really get that cozy feeling.
Yeah,
I
we're
have to
probably gonna get
drive.
snow on. We're probably gonna get snow on Thanksgiving, not
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah. That's how it goes. But I gotta drive, so that kind of sucks when traveling. Not a far drive though, but
No, you have like a 10-minute drive. Don't make
yeah,
it seem like you're driving hours.
yeah, I'm not like Jerry where I drive
Yeah.
from St. Louis to Chicago, but dude, I'm excited. It's gonna be such a great weekend. And then I have like a it's called Dips Giving. I'm going there on Friday. Everyone brings a dip, and then
Oh,
they vote on who has the best dip, and they get a little
yeah.
trophy. So I will be leaving that up to my girlfriend. I'm just there to eat dips. I'm not there to make dips.
Yeah, you're
So
there to vote. You're there to
I'm
vote.
there to vote and probably have a few Michelob Ultras.
Wow, it's a light beer.
It is a light beer, and but I like them. I like pounding them. Um, they are the reason I didn't feel very good on Sunday.
Nice.
I had about probably almost 20 of them.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It felt like a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
All
but I'm excited. It's gonna be great.
Caleb, Trevor, you were very engaged tonight. You deserve a pay raise from Caleb. Mom noticed the commitment tonight. Yeah, I mean, he's excited. Stuffing got
Well,
him
just
really excited.
just times 0 by like 1,000, and that's what I should be getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, nobody gets paid. I don't even get paid for this. So
Yeah, but I appreciate it, Mama Bear.
why would I pay the people underneath me when I don't even get paid?
Right,
That's
exactly.
not how this works.
But we start slinging merch, dude.
Yeah, maybe we could. I mean, we'll have to ask Jonathan. I mean, he has every shirt that I feel like of every moment of my life since I graduated high school there. So we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
no, hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all.
We'll be back Sunday with Jerry. I think maybe Jerry will be driving, so I don't expect much out of the Bears. I'm going to say it right now. Jerry should be joining us Sunday, but I know he's got some driving that he'll be doing, so he may be joining us later. We may go a little bit later, but we'll have a wacky games, crazy weekend. We probably should know the fate of Lane Kiffin by then, so that will be interesting. But yeah, we'll be back Sunday with Jerry. And I hope everyone enjoys the holiday and enjoys the games, the food, family, good or bad. And
Don't talk politics. Just do yourself
well,
a favor.
some people do. If everybody agrees on it, you can. But you never know. But as always, thanks for watching.
Peace.